Typhoon Ragasa made landfall at 5 p.m. on September 24th in Yangjiang, Guangdong. Winds reached up to level 16 near its center. The scene on land was chaotic, with massive waves and intense wind, along with torrential rain. In the video, you can see debris and metal sheets flying across city streets, trees being uprooted, roofs being torn off, cars overturned, and glass windows on high-rise buildings shattered. Pedestrians were blown off their feet in the gusts, making the situation extremely dangerous. I really can't go outside. I really can't. Yangjiang faced severe damage. The typhoon caused large trees to fall on roads, some with diameters exceeding 40 centimeters, showing that they had been standing for many years, but were no match for Ragasa's force. Some trees were even uprooted entirely. Wind turbines worth millions were also destroyed by the typhoon, leading to significant financial losses. People shared their frustration, stating that thin metal sheets couldn't withstand the strong winds, and the wind turbines were nothing more than industrial waste. While Ragasa passed, the aftermath left destruction everywhere, with billboards blown away and debris scattered all over. Trees were uprooted, roads were blocked, and damaged vehicles were seen everywhere. The once thriving city of Yangjiang, already struggling economically, now faced even more hardship. After the storm, some people shared videos, saying the roads were like a nightmare, with trees fallen everywhere, and navigating through the city felt like an impossible journey. According to preliminary statistics from Yangjiang, the typhoon destroyed over 53,000 trees, with more than 6,000 fallen over. Over 30 major roads were blocked, and 28 municipal facilities like streetlights and drainage systems were damaged. At around 10 a.m. on September 24th, the super-strong typhoon reached Zhuhai, Guangdong, where wind speeds of level 16 were recorded. As the typhoon's powerful influence hit, the tide rose to 210 centimeters, triggering a red alert. In just minutes, streets were flooded as massive waves swept into the city, submerging cars and shops on lower floors. Many residential areas saw their first-floor shops, homes, and underground parking lots flooded. On that morning, weather equipment at the Macau station in Zhuhai's Xiangzhou district recorded gusts of up to level 17, which is 59.1 meters per second. This is equivalent to the speed of a high-speed train, and it set a new wind speed record for South China coastal regions this year. Typhoon Ragasa brought torrential rain and storm surges, causing seawater to flood into Jiangmen, Zhuhai. The sight was shocking. One resident shouted, "The seawater is over the guardrail. I've never seen the water rise so fast." A woman shared in a video. Around 10 a.m. on the 24th, seawater started flooding in, and now it's past 2 p.m., and the water still hasn't receded. A large area is submerged, and across the street, the cars of nearby businesses are underwater. From the footage, we can see that the usually bustling roads are flooded, with vehicles almost completely submerged, leaving only the tops of cars visible. This flooding not only paralyzed local traffic, but also caused great inconvenience to residents. As the typhoon passed over Zhuhai, several tons of advertising billboards were blown over. A Zhuhai resident living on the 25th floor said, "The whole building is swaying, and my head is spinning. The balcony door is almost broken."
At around 10 a.m. on September 24th in Zhuhai, you can see the trees in the neighborhood being blown sideways. It's really fierce, with the wind and rain coming down hard. Looking back, the water in the neighborhood has submerged the wheels of cars. The whole area is flooded. When I got home, I was even more heartbroken. The windows were fine thanks to the tape, but the frame was blown off.
At 6:30 a.m., another resident shared.
The typhoon has arrived, and look outside now. Huge winds and rain are already raging. Is this just a preview? I'm starting to get scared. The trees below are getting torn up, and I'm especially worried about the crane on the building across from me. It looks fragile, and it's exposed to a lot of wind. Can you hear that? That's the sound of wind in the hotel lobby. It sounds like a ghost crying. I hope the door can hold. The elevator has been broken by the wind and keeps opening and closing without working. I never realized a typhoon could break an elevator. Thankfully, there's no wind in the hallway. Now I'm back in my room, but the broken elevator was a wake-up call. Zhuhai is only in the level 10 wind zone, and if level 10 winds can break the elevator, it's likely we'll lose power and water too.
The situation in Jiangmen district on the west side of Zhuhai became even more dire as seawater surged into the city. At around 1 p.m. on the 24th, seawater flooded into urban areas, with some neighborhoods seeing water levels of 3 to 5 meters. Many parked cars were submerged, and some even started floating. Zhuhai issued the highest-level red storm surge warning. All beaches and tourist spots in Jiangmen were closed, and Zhuhai Airport suspended flights. On the afternoon of September 24th, several Zhuhai residents shared videos showing that seawater had flooded Beilu Road, destroying the coastal park and flooding roads and residential areas. Li, a resident of Pali Champagne International Garden in Jiangmen, was interviewed by foreign media. She said that to prepare for Ragasa, coastal residents in Zhuhai's high-rise buildings had to evacuate for the first time in 30 years. Many hotels were fully booked, and her family had relocated to a gymnasium nearby for safety. Other residential areas along Jiangmen Road had also received evacuation orders. Zhuhai resident Mr. Chuan said, "The wind is so strong. Look at the rain outside. It's being blown into a mist, and it doesn't even reach the ground." Ms. Lin from Zhuhai said, "It's especially dangerous nearby. Either seawater is flooding in, or the rain is pouring down like it's being thrown." In addition to Zhuhai, several areas in Guangdong experienced seawater flooding. Ahead of the typhoon, schools and transportation in Shenzhen were suspended, and residents fled in fear. According to the Guangdong Provincial Emergency Management Department, by 6 p.m. on September 24th, over 2.2 million people had been relocated. Land transport in cities like Guangzhou and Huizhou were suspended, and flights at airports in Shenzhen and Zhuhai were widely cancelled. Reports indicated that more than 3,000 flights were cancelled across 5 airports in the Greater Bay Area. Typhoon Ragasa made a strong impact. According to Shenzhen meteorological authorities, the typhoon strengthened to a super strong level 17 at 2 p.m. on September 23rd, just 375 kilometers away from Shenzhen. One video showed the preparation for the typhoon, with all glass windows covered with tape and sandbags blocking any gaps. This is what it looked like before Ragasa. Just as I thought we would be safe, the surveillance footage captured this horrifying scene. It's terrifying to see how the waves shattered more than one window. It's hard to imagine what would happen if the typhoon made a direct hit on Shenzhen. At Shenzhen Airport, one airplane was wrapped up in preparation for the storm. A video showed the plane's tires and part of its body being wrapped in tape to secure it against the typhoon. A resident commented, "After being wrapped like this, will they be able to untangle it after the typhoon?" On the morning of September 24th, in Longgang district of Shenzhen, several large trees were snapped by the strong winds, and many road signs were toppled. By noon on September 24th, Typhoon Ragasa was nearing Taishan, Shangguan Island in Jiangmen, Guangdong. At 12 p.m., the level 12 winds had already covered the southern parts of Taishan and Xinhui. The winds on Shangguan Island exceeded record levels, with Jiangmen recording the strongest winds in its history. Over 250 millimeters of rain was recorded in many parts of Jiangmen in just 24 hours.
Hello everyone, I'm at Shangchuan Island in Jiangmen. I'm Liang Qingwen, the station chief. It's currently 11 a.m. on September 24th, and I'm 80 kilometers from Typhoon Ragasa. The wind speed here has reached level 15. By noon today, the typhoon will pass within 20 kilometers of Shangchuan Island, so please stay safe.
A video shared by a Jiangmen resident shows metal sheds being blown over, with beds exposed to the wind and rain inside the building. Another video from a local resident says,
一场台风，什么都没了。
In Jiangmen, Guangdong, after this typhoon, everything is gone.
In Jiangmen, the power of Typhoon Ragasa was so intense that only 3 flagpoles were left standing after the storm.
感受一下在江门新会台风画家沙的一个威力。
Feel the power of Typhoon Ragasa here in Xinhui, Jiangmen. It's noon on the 24th, and the wind is extremely strong. I had to push the door hard to close it, and it's still pretty powerful, even though we haven't reached level 17 yet. It's about level 12 now. Everyone, stay safe. Traffic has already been restricted here, with all traffic lights showing red. Please don't go out unless necessary. On the morning of September 24th, strong winds in Pinggang town, Yangjiang, caused trees and utility poles to fall down, leading to power outages. Power was still not restored by the morning of September 25th. For 58-year-old Huang Xiang, resident of Shanwai West Village in Puchang town, Yangjiang, typhoon days have always been particularly difficult. Huang said, "I live alone, and it's scary to be at home. The wind blows so hard that the windows and doors are rattling, and I worry about power outages." Typhoon Ragasa has caused massive losses for local farmers in Yangjiang. One chicken farmer tearfully shared that the chicken coop was blown away, and many chickens died from the rain. Newly hatched chicks were almost entirely wiped out, leaving the farmer with huge losses. Only those who have raised chickens can truly understand this heartache. Typhoon Ragasa passed through Hong Kong, bringing strong winds and rain that knocked down hundreds of trees and flooded coastal areas. On the evening of September 24th, the Hong Kong Observatory issued a level 10 hurricane signal, indicating wind speeds of at least 118 kilometers per hour. As of that evening, 90 people had been injured. Additionally, on the afternoon of the 23rd, a mother and son were swept away while watching the waves. They were rescued but found to be unconscious. On September 24th, waves reached the shore in Hong Kong, and nearly 3-meter-high water columns erupted from the storm drains. In the early morning of September 24th, the typhoon caused seawater to flood the Fullerton Ocean Park Hotel in South District, causing significant damage to hotel facilities. In a video online, you can see the moment the hotel's glass lobby doors were shattered, with people inside shouting and struggling to stand. Some even slipped as another wave of water hit. Hong Kong prepared for the worst. Disneyland closed, horse racing events were cancelled, and schools were suspended. Residents hoarded food, emptying supermarket shelves, and taped up their doors with plastic. Workers set up flood barriers, covered outdoor escalators, and secured sculptures. Typhoon Ragasa not only raised concerns about storm surges, but also caused discomfort for residents in Hong Kong's high-rise buildings. They had to endure a dizzying ship-like sensation all night. Ship-like sensation all night long. According to Hong Kong's housing design standards, the top floors of buildings can shift by 1/500th of the building's height, meaning some of the most swaying apartments in Hong Kong, like Tianhuan, Sky Peninsula Tower 1, and King's Mansion, may sway more than 1 meter. The top floor of the International Trade Center could sway nearly 2 meters. Ms. Sun, a student in Hong Kong, shared her experience. Living on a floor above the 60th, she had never encountered such a strong typhoon before. She recounted, "I was terrified after seeing warnings online. To prepare, the property management taped up the balcony door frames, and I added tape and a cross pattern on the outer glass, sealing all gaps and using a towel to block the bottom." She mentioned that by the time she tried to book a hotel and tickets, everything was fully booked. The wind in the kitchen sounded like a whistle, and the air conditioner, even though it was off, kept making noise. She felt the entire building sway, like being on a subway, and the lights started shaking. As Typhoon Ragasa continued moving toward the northwest, it came within 100 kilometers of Macau. Winds in Macau reached a level 12 hurricane. The strong winds and torrential rains caused water levels to rise rapidly in low-lying areas of Macau. Areas like Inner Harbor and Sitao Port saw water levels rise 1.5 to 2.5 meters, while St. Francis Xavier Church Station recorded about 1 meter of flooding. Streets such as Heibian New Street and Shalito Street Market were submerged, with water reaching knee-deep in some areas. Due to the storm surge, fish and turtles were swept onto the streets, turning Macau streets into an impromptu fish market. Despite repeated warnings to stay indoors and avoid flooded areas, some residents went out to catch fish. While Typhoon Ragasa will weaken after September 26th, another tropical cyclone formed in the northwest Pacific on September 24th. It's expected to cross the Philippines and move into the eastern South China Sea, gradually strengthening as it goes. As it intensifies, it could reach level 12. With Ragasa's effects still lingering, the imminent arrival of another storm means more extreme weather for the Hong Kong, Macau, and South China regions.